Hello and welcome to the KIM-1 corner. And this is the third episode. We'll be looking at the memory card expansion. Now in episode 2, I left you with a question, why wasn't the KIM-1 starting up after the expansion board was plugged in? Well, the answer is because the KIM-1 doesn't do a full decode. It decodes the first 8K here, and this keeps repeating up through memory. So when the 6502 looks at address FFFE for the reset vector, the KIM-1 ROM here, the 02 ROM, will actually answer even though it is only at 1FFF at the top. So 1FFE will answer instead, and that's got the reset vector in it. And that will point to more code sitting within here. When we got the full decoding, it's trying to look further up the memory and nothing answers. So nothing gets served. Well, actually, probably the number 0 gets served, and then the processor tries to start executing from address 0, and it will read a 0, which is the break instruction, which will just cause it to just loop around and make a total mess of things. So hopefully, with this card, this one here, we'll be able to solve this issue and make it boot up properly. Now all we've got on this card really is we actually look at the card itself, which is here, this one here. We've got room for 7 ICs. Each one of these is 8K in size. So remember the instruction decoding was, we had these 8K1, 8K2, 8K3 and so forth. They're 8K blocks. Well, each one of those addresses each one of these. Now, I've configured it so the top one will be a ROM. And we need to program the ROM there with the correct reset vector in. I mean, that starts at E000. So we need to program the very top of that ROM to give us the correct reset vector for booting the system up. And what I'll also do is I'll put a RAM in the first one here, which will be the first 8K after the KIM-1's 8K address in, so we'll have 8K of RAM sitting there. And these other sockets can have RAM in them, or you could put ROM in them, whichever you want, as we go along. And here's the edge connector here. I showed you in the last video. I haven't actually made it yet, but these just fit in there. We'll have a row of them, and then they'll plug vertically into the expansion card. So that's quite a simple card, really. We actually look at the circuit diagram for it. So we've got here, we just got, this is the ROM chip slot. As it's set up here, it's got a program pin going to read write. Then the others are wired up for read write for RAM. Although you could put a ROM in if you want, it doesn't make any difference. We've got 7 of those. And this is the edge connector coming in with all the is the K1, K2, etc. signals, not the K0 because that's only used on the KIM-1. And there's one thing you may notice, where here it's got the read-write, we've got the read-write signal coming off the bus. That actually feeds read-write here from the RAM read-write signal. The KIM-1 board creates a read-write that operates after the phase 2 clock comes on, and not beforehand. I'm not sure why, but I've used this on the other cards and it works, so I'm going to stick with that. Oh, let's go ahead and build that. So with the program of the Eprom, I've got an 8K EPROM here, I've erased it all. And on the left, you can see there's it's all FF, as it should be. And if we go right down to the bottom of the memory, you'll find that I've added here 1C, 1C, 22, 1C, 1F, 1C. You can actually just type them in. Well, these are the reset vectors. So this address here will actually be FFFO at the beginning. So this will be the very top of the ROM. And I'll program that in already using my trusty T48. If I only have to program in the top 6 bytes, all the rest will be left as FF, which means if I want to program this again with something else, I don't have to erase it because I haven't actually written anything to the rest of it. To do change it, and you have to remember to put that reset vector in. This is just for the top one. My research on the internet has said these round pin sockets are better. Well, that one's got a bit of a dodgy one now. I think I'll get another one. These are better for the plugging the chips in, but if you're putting chips in and out all the time, the flat ones with these double white pins will be better for the ROMs. So I'm going to stick one of those in the ROM and stick this one in down for the RAM. Here we have the board ready to go. I had to cut down one of these. It's all 4 wide, and 4 doesn't go into 30. So I had to break one in half at the end, whichever end it was. But it's okay. Now the ROM's already programmed. We'll plug that in. Oh, need to straighten these pins out. I need one of those pin straightening devices. There you go, that's all in. And that should work as it is. I've got to source an 8K RAM. I've got some, they're second hand, I need to unsolder them. But let's plug this in and see if it works. Alright, bring back the KIM-1 and let's plug this in. That's it, that plugs in like lovely and snug. I'll lift it up for the camera. In there. And let's put some juice on this and see what we get. Plug in a bench power supply. Power it up. Alright, the current over voltage. And turn it on. My cunning plan don't work, why not? Well, this episode's going to be a bit longer. We're resetting because the current's changing. Current load has gone up. But we're not booting. What have I done wrong? Okay, let's get on the scope on one of these pins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Nothing. Reset. Oh, it's not turned on. On. That's running. Reset. Oh, of course it's not running, you idiot. You complete idiot. Now, of course, this makes a bit of a mockery of the last episode when I said, can you see why this isn't working? Some idiot hasn't fitted the jumper on here. So we're never going to work without that. Good job the soldering iron's still hot. Right, so just to prove that I was telling the truth in the last episode, there's a jumper in place now without the other board, and it still won't run. Every time I press the reset, the milliamps jumps around. So we're running, and I can quickly poke the scope on that to show that. Oh, I don't believe it. I just broke that capacitor now. Oh dear, Can do one of them. Right, where are we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we go. There's a signal showing that the processor is running, but it's not doing anything. Now we turn that off again. Let's plug our new board in. That angled on nice and tight, that. I'm quite pleased with that. Right, and turn it on again. Oh, there we go. So those reset vectors worked, and they're working. So when we boot up, all it does is it reads those the reset vector off this ROM up here and loads it in, and that's pointing to the ROM in here. So that bit's working. I need to find a RAM chip, and then we can see if I can read and write to the RAM chip. Prove that that bit's working. Let's see if I can find one. Alright, I just rescued this IC from another board. Plug it into here, all turned off. We'll get around the right way. I think I might have to unplug it. Oh, the pins are a bit bent where I unsoldered it. Let's have a wiggle. Definitely need a pin straightener. Yeah. All in. Won't be taking that chip out again in a hurry. Let's plug this back in. Supply back in. So red. In the right way. Yep. All plugged in. Turn it on. Reset. Right, so what address are we on? Alright, that's address 2000. Alright, so if we go 2000, got an E in there. Now we do data, and we put 99 in there, plus 5, 2, 11. Right, if we now go back to address 2000, 2, 2, 3, 99, 45, 22, 11. Well, assuming it's looking at that chip, it appears to be working. So we've now got an 8K ROM sitting in there we can program up with something. And we've got an extra 8K RAM sitting in the KIM-1, which we can use for whatever. So what I think I might do for the next episode is see if I can get some software to run in there. Now I know there's a basic you can plug in, but I'd have to set it up to run at a different address. I've got a bit of an idea how to do that, because I don't have a compiler to do it, but I think I've worked out a way of shifting it up in the addresses. I'll give that a go. And also, what we got to do, the adapter we had plugged in here to connect up to the computer by a serial link, I need to modify that to take the jumper that puts on the KA signal, which is now going via this wire up here. I need to remove that from that board, otherwise it'll be enabling all the time and not using this setup to work it. So that's just a matter of taking that one wire off that pin KA, or AK I should say, and then it should all be booted from there, and we'll see if we can get basic running. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next episode with basic running.